Hello, hello, wherever you are in the world. My name is Agnes van Rhijn. I'm the founder of the Woman Who Makes Things Happen show, and I am a life and business reinvention mentor at Success on Your Own Terms, where I help women who are at crossroads to step into the driver's seat of their life so that they can reinvent it. I do recommend you take on my website, agnesvanrijn.com, ANYESVANRHIJN.com, the online assessment that you can find on my homepage, and that is called Are all areas of your life and your business supporting your success and your fulfillment? It is an assessment that will give you a very easy walk through all areas of your life. You will find out how it all ties together, and you will understand also with it what the first few steps are that you can take to change your life into the right direction. Today, it is my immense pleasure to be interviewing Rita Morales. Rita works with entrepreneurs and small business owners to help them create a website that connects with their target market, is easy to navigate, and converts visitors. Rita helps them with branding, personalized digital strategies, and creating an authentic and successful online presence. Welcome to the Women Who Make Things Happen show, Rita. How are you?
Thank you. Thank you so much. I am great. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
You are going to tell us your story. So tell us how everything started for you.
Well, it's kind of a long one, so
I don't believe you because you don't look that old.
Well, thank you very much. I met my husband about 14 years ago. Yeah, we just had our anniversary about 14 years ago, and I met him in Ohio, and he was originally from California, and I always wanted to leave Ohio because of the cold weather. And so we moved to California, about a year into our relationship. We got married. We were staying there. I have two children, and I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. And I tried unsuccessfully twice to have a business. But in the meantime, I would always revert back to corporate. And until I realized, until I figured out, what do I want to be when I grow up? So, I kept trying different things and thinking that this was the thing, but I just really feel like I just wasn't time. I wasn't ready to be an entrepreneur yet. And about almost 7 years ago, I was working at a commercial real estate company in California, and we decided that we were going to get a new website. And I didn't know how to make websites at that point, but I was really, I was the office manager, so I was in charge of doing all of the server stuff because it was a really small company. So I did all the IT stuff. I did kind of like the, anytime there were issues with computers, I was always the go-to. Rita, help me. I don't know, what's going on. And so I was very technical. And we had a subcontracting IT firm who came in, and he would always teach me new stuff. And so it was something that I loved to do. And then when it was time to get the website done, I was kind of the liaison to my boss, and in between the website design company. And so at the end of the process, they said, we're going to teach you how to maintain this. And I was like, oh, awesome, because I was more technically inclined. And so I started doing that, and my boss wanted me to start doing more of the marketing stuff because, that's what my degree was in, was more marketing-based business and marketing. And so I started doing the website stuff, and I started just loving it. I just fell in love with it. And at that time, I was pregnant with my first child, and long story about that one. I had went through like 5 years of infertility. And so it was like, finally I have this baby, and now I have this thing that I like to do. And then I went on maternity leave. I created my own blog. I started learning how to do websites, how to build like WordPress. And so I was kind of practicing and playing in it. And then I went back to work after 3 months of maternity leave, and I still was playing around with the websites and kind of expanding my skill set, because, you know, learning how to design websites, it takes a lot of practice and a lot of time. And I ended up getting pregnant again, and I have my second son, you know, about 2 years after that. And luckily, after I had him, I was able to stay home for about 18 months, get myself back into shape, because I had really let myself go during pregnancy. I was just so excited to just eat whatever. Whatever, because I had always been a very restrictive, you know, diet conscious person. And so I stayed home with my sons, and I was able to really get into how to market a blog, because the person that I was looking to for advice for websites, or I'm sorry, for fitness and nutrition, she was a brilliant marketer. And so I would just follow her, and I was like, wow, this is great. I love this. I want to do what she's doing. And, you know, I just started kind of learning more and more about it. But California is very expensive. And so my husband was like, you have to go back to work. So I ended up going back to work when my youngest was 18 months. So I got to stay home for that time. And I always was really good at my job, because I would get in there and I would fix everything, but then I would get really complacent and bored. And so when working in that type of job, there's like a ceiling. You hit the ceiling, and there's nowhere else for you to go. And so I decided, while I was working at this job, it's a national company, that but in this particular office, there was nowhere for me to go. So while I was working at this job, I said, I'm going to try to start my own design company on the side. Yeah, so I started it with my husband, because my husband was really good with graphic design, and I was really good at the more technical stuff. And so my husband was also working full time, and he had about an hour commute. And I got my first client almost immediately, and I was so excited. And, you know, it went okay. Like, she was very happy with it, but I wasn't really good at implementing all of the, you know, the processes. I didn't have my systems down, because this was my first time. This was kind of like a trial for me. And
learning curve.
Yeah. So it went really well, you know, based on everything. But so I said, you know, it's taking a lot. So, but I was still trying to pursue the career, even though I was working full time, which was really hard, because I, you know, was restricted on the amount of time that I could market myself. I didn't really want to market myself on my personal Facebook page, because, you know, I still had my job, and I was afraid that I was going to lose my job. And so,
how long have you been doing that in parallel?
It was about a year, and I wasn't really good at marketing myself, and so therefore I wasn't really getting a lot of clients, because I wasn't able to take the time to really dedicate that I needed to continue learning and continue to grow. You know, California is horrible with traffic, and, you know, it was just, and then we ended up moving to a different place, and all of these things happened. And I just came home one day, and I told my husband, I want to move back to Ohio. And he looked at me like, what?
That's Gold's place?
Yeah, because I had always been the one saying, I will never move back to Ohio. I never will want to move back here, because I love the weather in California. And it's not even just the weather, just the people, and the just overall atmosphere is like, you know, healthy eating. I was able to stay in shape better. I was able to get outdoors more. Just overall, it is just better. We still plan on moving back. You know, that was one of the caveats was, okay, we're going to come here. My family lives here. And so we said, we're going to come here maximum 5 years, get everything together, and then we'll go back. But, you know, so luckily my husband is very, very supportive, because he didn't even blink an eye. He just said, you want to go? okay,
Let's go.
we're going to go. And we moved here. I left my job February 28th, and believe on the 3rd of March, we were flying out.
Wow.
And yeah, so I actually was really nice. I gave my job 2 months notice that I was leaving and let them know, I'm moving back to Ohio to help my family out because I have a sister who's handicapped and my mom is here and all my siblings are here and stuff. And so it was a win-win because within the 12 years that I've lived in California, I had only been back to Ohio a few times. And so I felt really disconnected from my own family.
Yeah, can imagine.
Yeah, so we came back and it's been really good, being able to reconnect with my siblings again and my mom and everything. But the biggest thing is that my husband has, just really stepped up with support, and he is just like my number one cheerleader, just letting me pursue my dreams. And, I just feel like I know now what I want to be when I grow up, and this is what I do. And, entrepreneurship has really helped me to grow as a person, and moving here has helped our marriage and just helped us reconnect as a couple and as a family. So it's overall.
So the good news is that the interview is over. You told us all. Can we rewind a little bit?
Sure.
No, there's a lot. I did consciously let you speak because it's very interesting. Again, this show is the woman who makes things happen. So the idea is, as you know, to inspire other women to go after their dreams as well. But you are having this very nice way to weaving into your story all the things that those women are fearing, all the things that they are experiencing themselves. So from the beginning where you're trying things and it doesn't work and you don't know, but you're not ready, and then okay, I go back to a job, and continuously like that, and growing into something, because a lot of women don't even know what they could be doing, and you know everything about it. You've just been describing it wonderfully. And ultimately, I'm thinking that maybe you're a little bit older than I thought you were. Because
that's why I said thank you. Because
no, I'm joking. But then you have this interesting parallel also with what do we do when we still have a job? We start having an idea of what it is that we want to be doing, but we're too afraid to go after that dream, and we want to hold on to security. I did the same. For 2.5 years, I had done multiple trainings because I was too afraid to go out there, and people would think I'm an imposter. So I was overtraining. At some point, I did set up my business, but I did not give up my job. So I was doing both, and of course that didn't work. Right. But then the year after, I decided to do a 20-80 split. Of course, 20% was my business, not the other way around. Mm-hmm. I played it safe. And of course, that doesn't work. Mm-hmm. And then only the 3rd year did I decide, okay, now I have to take the plunge. I'm going. And from there, the ball starts rolling. The other interesting thing you are talking about is how all of that interferes with your personal life. Mm-hmm. So a lot of the listeners will experience the same. Either their other half is supportive, mm-hmm. or their other half isn't at all and is pushing them, to go back for the job, which your husband did at some point. He did ask you to go back. Mm-hmm. So thank you for sharing all of that. People who are listening, this is all normal. Yeah. So what I would love you to share now is what did you find the most challenging in that process?
So when we moved here, one thing that I left out is, my husband, obviously he found a job, and then the business was just solely up to me. So I had to learn more graphic design stuff. I had to learn about branding. I had to not only learn it, but, put it into practice. And because with practice, then things become better and better. And I think that the most challenging part is and even still, is marketing yourself. I think that people don't understand how to market themselves because we have been taught really not to brag, not to talk too much about ourselves, but part of marketing is bragging. And so then it becomes a fine line of when is it disingenuous or when is it too much, and when is it actually effective, and how to do it effectively. And
authentically.
Yeah, and authentically. So that's why I was saying that becoming an entrepreneur has really helped me to see my areas that I need to improve. It has been a lesson of self-discovery like no other. I've been blessed to work with some amazing clients who have taught me so many things. And while I'm working, I'm doing this stuff for them, it's a give and take relationship where they have helped me and helped me to grow because I get to work with mostly amazing coaches. And so
yeah, that's a good thing.
So then they're always helping me because, it's like if I have a question, then I know that this client is the right one to ask. And so I think the biggest struggle for most people is marketing themselves and really figuring out how to get themselves out there in an effective way without seeming fake.
Yeah. Going back to the authenticity part, that is another very good point that you are mentioning in here, is that women in particular are having a very hard time to put themselves at the center of their life, and therefore come up for what is important to them, who they really are, which is why I really focus on that as the first steps of the program I do with my clients. Be clear about who you are and what is important to you, because that is what you will convey in your message. That is everything to do with, as you say, branding. I'm a personal branding strategist as well. So that is something that's really important. But how do you do it? By finding the right balance. And also one thing that I find interesting watching around is somehow it seems that we are in this world where others are dictating how we should be doing everything, our marketing included. But if it doesn't feel right, it doesn't feel right. And then people will sense it. So find your way. Don't compare yourself to others. You never know at what stage others are. You never know what they've experienced before. And so, it's an important thing to remember.
And I am somewhat introverted. I guess I would relate more with like an ambivert or whatnot, because I really enjoy talking and connecting with other people, but I am inside of my head a lot, kind of shy until I get to know people. And I think that's a lot of women are like that. And especially for the introverts, they don't know how to get out there, to really get out there. And one way that I find that is really effective is to show your work. And so again, with the bragging, it's like, how do I show my work without bragging? And I think showing like a behind the scenes of this is my work, this is the process of what I do for more creatives. And I think that it works too for people who are in coaching. I see a lot of people on Facebook. My client did this and I'm so proud of my client. And I think that that's a really effective way to show people what you do and how you help other people, because that's the most important part. And if I may just sidetrack just for a second, with the branding aspect, I find that the hardest part for me to do as the website designer is the branding, because a lot of people come to me, they do not know what they want. All they know is I want this beautiful website. I want I want it to reflect me and to reflect my business appropriately. But, and I say it's the most challenging because it takes the longest, it takes longer to get through that. And I created like a more non-fluffy approach to how to brand with my clients, because I think it helps them get to the part of it a lot faster versus them filling out a questionnaire and me reviewing the kind of scouring the questionnaire. I don't do that anymore because it doesn't help me, because what I need is, 3 to 4 really clear adjectives of how you want people to feel when they visit your site, who your audience is. And so then we just kind of go through this rapid fire questioning of, tell me about your client, about you, tell me about your clients, and, tell me the experience. And then we create these little avatars for about 4 people. And I really feel like that helps them feel more connected, because graphically, it's hard to create something for someone when they don't really know what they want.
But if I may interrupt, that's the whole thing between personal branding and branding. Branding is only the visible top of the iceberg. Where personal branding is the whole process, and that includes what's below the surface. And that has, again, everything to do with being clear about who you are, what you want, who you want to work with, etc. So just arriving with an idea about colors, or I like that website, if it's not in alignment with who you are,
it doesn't help. It doesn't help at all. Yeah, so I think that's the problem that a lot of people have, is that, again, because of my own journey of self-discovery, I think that I recognize when people are not there yet, because I was once there. And I know that, especially, I usually don't do brand new sites because they are not there yet. I like to do redesigns, because by then the client has probably DIY'd their own site, and then they've started to evolve, and their business has grown in a direction. Yeah, and their self, they have then themselves evolved into a different direction. And those are the ones that I find to be a great fit for me. Some people like the other ones because they're fast and they're easy. I like the ones that are like more in depth and more, they're juicier,
I must say that I have a similar preference. I prefer to work with small business owners after a few years, rather than at the very beginning, for those exact same reasons. They are more inclined to look inside, to really want something that is really authentic, that is true to who they are. And you're saying the same, in fact.
Yeah, because they've been searching for this for so long, and they just need somebody to kind of help them bring it out. And I think that, the branding can help them, the branding process can help them bring it out and help them get really more clear on what their messaging is, what their positioning is, where they are wanting to go strategically, what are the end goals, and how do we get there? So versus, just this beautifully put together website, I like my websites to be pretty, obviously, but, want them to convert, and I want them to actually be user friendly. So, yeah.
So you mentioned that, just to talk about your clients, you mentioned that they are mainly coaches, but who else are you and so ideally not at the very beginning. So who else are you working with?
Well, I usually do work with a lot of coaches. I can't even. They're usually in nutrition or health and fitness, business coaches. Most of them are just online entrepreneurs. And I've worked with some people locally, like interior designers and things that are more creative, and they're just not technically inclined. But I would say overall, most of my clients are coaches. Yeah. Yeah, online business coaches. They want to help people, but they're not really sure how to do the technical stuff, or maybe they're too busy to do the technical stuff now. Like most of them have done their first website, and they're just ready to have somebody else help them.
And so where can people find you?
Sure. My website is ritamorales.com. And I wanted to tell you a quick story. So all of my designs are under Brainy Girl Designs. And so if somebody goes to my Working Together page, they'll see that all of my designs are under Brainy Girl Designs, because that is the name that I came up with initially when I decided I'm going to start my business. I wanted something that would express how, I wanted to attract the attention of smart women.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, because I myself am smart, but I want to empower other women to accept that, that intelligence and that, and just embrace it, because I feel like a lot of times it's either you're pretty or you're smart. You can be both. And I feel like a lot of times that, maybe women aren't really embracing that nowadays, is, the actual smartness, for lack of a better word. And so that's why I decided, I want to have it Brainy Girl Designs. And even when I switched domains, I wanted to maintain that, because that is something that most women, they love and they connect with, because my whole intention is to empower other women to be the best that they can be. I not only build websites for my clients, but I teach them how to use them effectively. Mm-hmm. And so I think that is something that that helps me to stand apart, because I don't just throw them a video and say, here, go for it. I do provide videos for them, but I'm trying to empower them to use it in an effective way. And so that was the main mission of Brainy Girl Designs, and that's why I still keep it, because that's something that I believe in and I want to encourage.
Good for you. I love that. I love empowering women.
Yay! And I'm the mom of 2 boys, and I still, of course, I'm teaching my sons to respect and honor all women. So I think that
that's another very good thing.
That's our job as women, to do that for each other.
Absolutely. Just to wrap up, what would you give as 2, 3, 4, whatever, how many you have, most important tips to women who would want to go after their dreams?
I would say just figure out a way to do it. That was the thing for me, is I really had to think about, how can I do this? It wasn't working on the side, wasn't working. And it was something I knew in my heart. I knew that I wanted to do this. And so I just had to figure out what is going to be the best, most effective way. Even if you don't have a husband supporting you like I do, I know that there are other ways, because I used to take my laptop, and I had a little wireless Wi-Fi at the time, and I would take it, and every day I would go to the park, and I would park in my car, and I would do things on the computer during lunch. Wow. And then I would go home at night after my kids were at bed, and then I would get back on the computer and do things, because I was so driven. I knew that I was going to make this work. And I feel like if that is something that you really want to do, you just pursue it. And it's going to evolve, and it's going to change as you're able to transition into full time. But you're going to really discover what you want to do. Like I know that this is what I was meant to do. Now,
determination.
Yes, definitely. Just be determined. And whether, or maybe instead of working your full-time job, you can do the opposite and just get a part-time job to supplement, it depends. And the whole reason why I moved to Ohio is because the cost of living here is so much more affordable. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
So I think that to come back about on that as well, it does imply that you make certain choices. I mean, at some point when you know what's important to you, there are most likely certain things that you need to give up. And so making those conscious choices, understanding why you make them, is also something that makes them lighter. Mm-hmm. The weight is not the same when you make choices that are not necessarily nice or more difficult or whatever. When you know why you do them and where they will lead you to, that makes all the difference as well.
Yeah, I agree, because had I not been starting my business and I decided to move back to Ohio, I don't think that I would have. I mean, coming back here, has been great, like I said, because I got to reconnect with my family, but the whole purpose is that I got to start my business. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And so that is what it's all for. Is for that. And, I'm really grateful for my life that I get to do that, and I was able to do it so easily, with a supportive husband, because I know that it's a struggle for others. Maybe they're not married, or maybe their husband isn't supportive like mine is.
Rita, this was a pleasure. Thank you so much. And thank you so much also for, as I said, wading into all aspects so that the listeners can really relate to it. And yeah.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. It's been great.
Thank you so much. Have a lovely day. Bye.
Bye.